Hey everyone, I'm Crystal Jigrup, and this is Empowered by Women. In August of 2021, I launched Book of Bijou, which is a line of chic and innovative jewelry storage. And in January of 2022, we expanded into what you now see as the Empowered by Women platform. I really wanted to create a centralized space where we can really put emphasis on our mission of women empowerment and community over competition. It really truly does fill my cup to be surrounded by so many of you inspiring women, and the energy that you bring to me and our platform on a daily basis is unmatched. You really all do fuel me with so much motivation to continue doing what I'm doing, and for that, I thank you. Before we jump into the episode, please be sure to follow or subscribe to us wherever you are listening, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening on your favorite podcast platform. And also don't forget to share your favorite episodes with your fellow female founders so that we can continue growing our platform and furthering our mission. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this next interview with another incredible woman in entrepreneurship that I know you guys are going to absolutely love. Today, we have the incredible Bea-Marie Aning. She is the inner superwoman catalyst. So excited to dive into that. She is a coach, a speaker, and her mission really is to inspire resilience, self-discovery, and a life of boundless energy and success. Boundless energy, also excited to dive into that. I don't know where anyone gets that from. But Bea, I am so excited that you're here today. Obviously, we did a session on your own podcast, which I'm so excited to see when that goes live. But thank you for having me onto yours. And now I'm so excited to have you onto ours. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I was looking forward to this all day, and because I just love your vibe. I just love how you flow. I love your energy. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, you're so sweet. And likewise, I really loved our conversation. And it kind of was like the same type of vibe that we have here, where it's just very easygoing, go with the flow and just let it all, like let the passion pour out and see where it takes us, which is why I know this conversation is going to be so amazing. So I like to start it off with you telling us a little bit about your background and how did that bring you to what you are doing today and what are you doing today? Give us some insight into that.
Okay, I'm not going to start with with the very beginning, but just to let you in a little bit on my background. For most of my life, I had an amazing childhood. You know, I know that's very rare for people to say. You know, I have my parents, they were together until my dad died 4 years ago, and it was just amazing. But still in this, you know, love-filled environment, there were things happening that really shaped my destiny, I would have to say. Like my dad had a really interesting and really unique sense of humor. And I was a very expressive child. Like I was dancing and singing and screaming through the house all day long if I could. And so on one of those days, I have two kids myself now. So I know that sometimes we parents, we just need some peace and quiet to hear our own thoughts again. So, and my dad remarked that I had a voice for the ballet, which I thought at that moment, you know, is a compliment. But actually, when you know the ballet, then you know that the expression is completely physical and the voice is silent. And that comment just really sank really deep into me. Like I didn't understand it at that time, but a lot of my decisions following after that, I was 7, were really based on to keep myself quiet, to do things that I do not disturb people. And that kind of culminated in when I was 16 and I was living abroad with a host family. And that family was really strict, I have to say, and had really strong beliefs in what they believed in. And they basically told me what to do, what to wear, what to think, who I could hang out with, who I could like, who I could not like. So basically they shaped, or they created this vision of a life for me. And for me, it felt like they opened a cage door and said, here you go. And I went into that cage because I was too scared to be sent home. I was too scared, so I complied. And what happened was I was a healthy teenager when I left home. And when I entered that cage, I became a bulimic because my body was not complying. My body was expressing the anger and the fury that I felt inside, but that I could not express verbally. So I had so many earth angels help me through that and get me out of that family and create this beautiful experience for me. So, but what I learned from this was that no matter how suppressed you might feel, there is always a part of you that screams and tries to break free from what you were constraining yourself or whoever is constraining you in a way. So this just as a little bit of backstory, because right now what I'm doing is I help women break free. I help women expand. I help women find their voice, break free from the shackles that they put on themselves most of the time, and just step into their full power, to step into their superpowers, to experience their wildness, their rawness, their unpolishedness. Because to be honest, if we look at social media, if we look at the media itself, everything is polished. Everything is like this lotus effect where just like everything peels off from, so that we don't have any friction, you know? We don't want people to feel agitated, or we don't want people to give them room to attack us. So that's why we polish and try to be perfect so that there is no room. But the actual thing is, perfect is boring. Peel off effect, lotus effect is boring. We want to see the raw. We want to see the wild. We want to see you. We want to see you untamed. And this is what I help my clients with, to find the peace and harmony within the imperfection.
Wow. That is so powerful. And I really, really love that within that same sentence of owning their full potential, you have those words of that rawness, that unpolishedness, because you are 100% right that perfection isn't real. Nobody wants perfection. I mean, there are people that are still chasing it, but it's an illusion. And really, where you are leaning into your highest potential is when you're accepting all of the parts of yourself, all of those minor imperfections that are really, that can be played to your strengths and that can be seen as something so beautiful, right? And that's a part of how you differentiate yourself and how you show up in a space as someone that is so spectacular and someone that has something to offer, because you're accepting all of that and you're not falling into this perfection mindset where you're almost, looking like everyone else, right?
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. So I really want to talk about your own transformation. You said that you have these earth angels, or you have these earth angels that really helped you to get out of that home and transform your life. But what was it like in your own process to really start owning your voice? I mean, especially after you had been told that, you should be operating in a way where you're not disturbing others. And using your voice is almost like it's causing that disruption, right? I'm putting that in quotes because I don't believe that. Girl, use your voice, okay? Everyone listening, use your voice. Make the moves, be seen, be heard. But what was that process like for you specifically, Bea? And how did you kind of overcome that belief that was instilled in you that if you're using your voice, you're disrupting other people?
It's that's actually a really interesting and funny story, because like every time that I rebelled, it never looked like a rebellion. Like I have kind of dark hair. So my first rebellion was I dyed my hair blue But with dark hair, you cannot really see the blue. You can see like this really like shimmer. There could be something blue, but that was my kind of rebellion. So when I started to, think about what I wanted to do, how I wanted to show up in this world, I didn't think that my voice mattered. But I had this, like, since I was 6, 7, I had this really powerful force in me that wanted to express itself. So since I wasn't going to be a professional ballet dancer, I did professional jazz and hip hop dance for a while, but that wasn't the channel that I wanted. I wanted to express myself through my voice, but having the belief that my voice didn't matter, I found a way to express my voice, but not express my voice, and that is through acting. Like, I went to acting school because there I could use the words of other people to express myself. There I could use, the director's directions to express myself in a really safe space because he told me what to do. And in those characters, in those lines, in those scripts, I could express what I was feeling inside. But after 10 years, 12, like, I started acting when I was about 12. So I have 25 years of acting on in my career already. But after acting school, I think it was like 10 years 12 years that I realized that it wasn't enough anymore. Like, I felt caged again because through this development in this really safe container, I had grown and I had outgrown the belief that my voice didn't matter. Because then I also started directing and I also wrote scripts and I also ventured into film and I did all of those things and I did dubbing. And so after a while, I was just like, why? Like there was always like this question in my head, why am I doing this? What is that? Why? And it was a crutch for me. It was a crutch for me to express myself, but I didn't need that crutch anymore. And so I tried to figure out what I wanted to do. Like, how did I want to express myself?
Hey, beautiful humans, really quick, did you know that hiring a virtual assistant saves people 14.7 hours per week on average? As our platform and my family continues to grow, I knew there was no way that I could keep doing it all alone. And I mean, who wants to anyway, right? So I finally made the leap to hire a VA, and it has been game changing. iWorker actually came recommended to me by a friend who also has a VA that she loves from there. And there's so much more to the agency that actually really drew me to them and made me feel comfortable taking that leap and making the commitment to bringing on a VA, which is a huge decision. Not only does iWorker ensure that their VAs are top tier, they're committed to hiring people from countries in crisis where the work that you're providing really does matter. iWorker was actually co-founded by a Venezuelan immigrant in response to the Venezuelan refugee crisis, which is why their mission is so profoundly rooted the way that it is. And most of their team, which is 65% women, which we love, they're able to support multiple family members thanks to the income that they're receiving from iWorker. My VA has been an absolute game changer, and she has a little one of her own, which makes me appreciate her work ethic even more and makes me feel really good that I did make the decision to go with iWorker. So if you are ready to start taking that busy work off of your plates so that you can focus on the work that really does matter in your business and in growing your business, head to iWorker. They'll take care of all the things: social media, video editing, graphic design, copywriting, you name it. Head to iWorker. It is going to be an affiliate link that's in the notes, but just know I do not take that lightly, okay? I only share things with you that I really do know and that I actually use and 100% will continue to support. So again, that link is in the show notes, but let's go ahead and get back to the episode.
I wasn't able to express myself in a way that I do now, that I go on stages and speak and inspire people, but I wanted to support people. So I started leaning into coaching and supporting people through that. And through that, it just grew. So every step from I was 7 to basically now was to peel back all those layers of conditioning to really, break free, out of the cocoon that I had built for myself. And I have so many clients who have done it the same or in a different manner, that nobody else, it was just a comment, or it was just an act, or it's just like somebody looked at you funny, and all of a sudden you have created this whole world, this whole reality around you, and built this version of yourself that does not measure up to your authenticity, to your authentic self. So taking, layer by layer, because you cannot just peel it all off at the same time. That would completely shock your system. So taking it off bit by bit and coming closer to the wild version of you, the truest version of you. Like, I don't know if I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, but I'm really, really close. I'm getting there, and it feels warm and it feels raw, and I'm scared sometimes. I'm scared of the power that is in there, because I believe that we are all capable of incredible things, and that we are not afraid to fail. Come on. We have failed so many times. When we learned how to walk, we fell on our faces, on our butts so many times that this shock of failure is not new to our system. But most of the time, we are so afraid of the power because we have never experienced that much power, like our own power. Because from the young age on, we have been molded and put into those versions of what society thinks we should look like or be like as women, especially, but also for men. You need to be strong. You need to be buff. You need to be tough. Don't cry. And for women, you need to be nice. You need to be nurturing. You need to be supportive. No, you don't need to be anything. The only thing that you need to be is you. Because this is what we need in this world. We don't need another kind, really nice, really sophisticated, really nurturing person. There are people naturally like this, but we don't need to put everybody in that mold. And yeah, so I get really passionate about this because I feel and I love it when young people at a young age just really know who they are, and step into this and are unapologetically them. Yes. Are they inconvenient? Yes, because society does not have room for that. But I'm so looking forward, because times are changing and everything is changing right now. And this feeling of, ooh, that person is taking up a lot of space. Ooh, they're inconvenient. It like now I feel more like, ooh, yes, they're taking up space. Yes, 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 let's do this. Yeah.
The more you talk, the more I'm like, you are me. Like, I feel everything that you were saying. And I think we're kind of in that same space where we've both been heavily leaning into like, this is who I am. I am going to show up. I am going to show you all sides of me. And I love it. Like, I own who I am. But there's also that part of us that, we know we're not quite there yet. We're still growing. We're still leaning more and more into it. We're still uncovering all of the layers of us so that we can keep showing up as even more raw and real and authentic. And I think that's such an important part that needs to keep being reiterated, right? Because there's, often the conception that when we see speakers or, people that are really confident, like they were born that way. There's something that's who they are. But then for people that are more introverted or that have not yet gone through the process of recognizing how to own their voice and be comfortable stepping into that, they have this notion that like, that could never be me. That's not who I am. But
as we've just heard you say, you had this whole transformative experience where you were taught to think all the things that you were thinking. You weren't using your voice. You didn't feel comfortable doing that. And there are people that are in that space now where, it's so important to remind them it's not an overnight thing. It's not something that you have to be born with. You have something so powerful within you. And if you just slowly allow yourself to slowly start peeling that back and testing it out. I love your story particularly because it's so unique, because you started using your voice through the voice of your characters, which I think is really awesome and something that I haven't heard yet. So there's different ways of how you can start being comfortable doing that and showing up. And it is absolutely a process, and it might take you years, it might take you your whole life to be like, wow, yes, no, there is nothing holding me back now. There are no filters. This is me. I love it. I'm showing you all of me.
Yeah.
I want to go back to, the fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how you said that no one is afraid of failure. And I've never really heard anyone say that, because, fear of failure is something that it's a common kind of buzzword that gets circulated, especially in the entrepreneurship community, right? Where we have that fear of failure. But I like that you said that no one is afraid of failure. And I really think that looking at it from that light, it really isn't a fear of failure. It's a fear of judgment, right? Because when we're babies, we're not really thinking about what anyone else is thinking. We're just living our lives. But
Yeah.
when we're adults, now we're more cognizant of, oh, all these people have their opinions of me, of what I'm doing, and that's what I'm afraid of. So what kinds of guidance do you have for the clients that you may be working with, that the fear of judgment is really what is holding them back from unlocking their fullest potential?
Yeah, I love that you pointed that out, that it is, we are so conditioned to think about what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
But when we tap into our inner child, the one that fell multiple times, the one that can only say three words in a sentence, and now we're really eloquently, communicate in different languages at the same time, basically. So when I talk to my clients, or when I talk to any, like young entrepreneurs, I say there is no failure. You cannot fail. Every misstep that you take is not a failure. It's a chance to grow. It's a chance to learn. It's a chance to evolve. So when other people might view something as a failure, it's the same thing with success. Success is also that buzzword, you need to be successful. Yeah, but what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does failure mean? Does failure mean you're losing $1 million? That hurts to lose that, but you learned a lot along the way. You will not make the same misstep again. So was it a failure? I'm not 100% sure, because I believe every step that we take on our journey is something that we need to learn. And there is no down. Like, there's only up. You can only go up in your life. You can only go forward. But our brain, to tap into the neuroscience of it, is our brain can only live or operate in the past, because it only gives you advice from the past. The brain does not live in the present, and the brain does not live in the future. The brain, when you do something, when you want to take when you want to make a decision, your brain picks similar events in your past and brings them up, and basically channels what the outcome would be from those past events. But your brain does not take into account that you have grown since those past events. The brain does not take into account that you have evolved, that you know better, that you know more, that you will not make the same mistake again because of the feelings that you had, that you felt like a failure, that it felt really, really bad, that you cried, that you didn't want to get out of bed for the next couple of years. But so what we need to do when something like this comes up, we need to listen to our gut and to our heart, because our body lives in the present. Our body lives in the here and now. And when we listen to our body, when we listen to our body's wisdom, this is how we move forward. If we listen to our brain when we make decisions, we stay in the past. We live in the past, and we take those perpetual cycles in the past. But when we listen to our body's wisdom, we're moving forward, because our body is connected to a higher energetical field. So, and when we tap into that energy, when we feel the energy, you know, when we meet somebody, just as an example, when people say to me, yeah, energy, whatever, you know, let's all that woo-woo talk. No, when you meet somebody, you know instantly if you like that person or not. Why? Because your energies touch, because your energies mix, and then you see, are you on the same frequency? Are you on the same vibration, or are you not? Other people might say it's the hormones. You know, you smell if you like that person or not. It's all the same thing. Your body has the wisdom. Your body tells you, will I move forward with that person or not? The same thing with a decision that you're going to make in your business or in your life. Is that do I lean forward? Does my body lean into the decision, or does my body move back from it? That's a really, really easy indicator to say, is it a good decision, or will it bring me forward? Or should I think about it? Or not think about it, but feel into it more. And so that's what you said in the introduction, to have endless energy. And I love that, because of course nobody has, you know, is always plugged in and charged 100% all of the time. But we can operate on a level that we never burn out, of energy. And especially you know, with a newborn, and, you know, to all the moms with kids under 10, I feel you. I have 2 of them. We need sleep. We feel like, oh God, there's like no way I'm going to make the next day. But if we build little islands where we have our charging stations, where we can recharge, where sometimes it's just 5 minutes. Sometimes it's just 5 minutes of breathing that will get you through the next 24 hours. And not just get you through, but actually let you fly through it, because you're consciously and wholeheartedly taking everything on. And one of the most amazing things that I've discovered a couple of years ago is that if you love what you do, you never run out of energy. Because the love for what you do, the why you do it, the purpose in it, that keeps you going, that keeps you alive, that gives you that spark that makes that lights up all your cells, and you go, woo, you get like chills and tingles, and you just want to, you know, jump out of bed in the morning, because you know that you're going to work with an amazing client, or you're going to create this beautiful product, or, you know, you hang out with your kids, and then you're like, oh God, my kids annoy the crap out of me right now, but then they do this really, really cute thing, and you're like, oh my God, I love you guys so much. And just like in motherhood, you know, in entrepreneurship, it's this up and down. You never have a straight flow of energy. So if you wanted that from this interview, from this podcast, you know, sorry to break it to you, but this is not going to happen.
I really love that. And something that I've been telling people lately is that I really do look at my business as a form of self-love, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of self-care, because as you said, it is something that I'm so truly passionate about. It is something that lights me up. I am surrounding myself with people that are an energetic match with me. So it refuels me and it gives me that energy. And as much as, you know, people on the outside might look at it as like, oh, you're a workaholic, or, you know, you don't feel like you need to like hustle so hard all the time. Like that's not it. I don't feel that way because I love it so much and it is filling me up and it is fueling me up. So I really, really love that you threw that in there. So what is the inner superwoman catalyst? We have to make sure that we are going through that in this podcast because that sounds amazing. So it seems like there's one particular thing that is the catalyst. I'm not sure if it is, but tell us what the inner superwoman catalyst is.
So, I truly believe, you know, like I said before, that when we tap into into our authenticity, when we tap into our innate power, that we have superpowers, like all of us do. We're not just humans. You know, we have this incredible power within us. And since I work mostly with women, it's the super women or the superwoman catalyst, the inner superwoman catalyst. Because of course, you know, thinking about being able to fly, you know, or you know, like what's that?
Levitate.
Levitating,
Mhm.
or that is really, really hard for us to believe. You know, this is really hard. But we all have this sixth sense, or, you know, this thing where we are like, oh, did somebody ring the door? And all of a sudden the doorbell rings. You know, when we know something is going to happen, or we just know we should not go down that road, or we have that feeling of, I need to talk to that person now. Those are gifts. Those are superpowers that we have, like psychic abilities or channeling abilities, transmuter abilities. There are people who call it spiritual gifts, but I actually think those are tangible physical gifts that we have because our body is a big part of it. So what I help my clients do is catalyze those gifts, like find those moments in time where they had a spark, where they felt something, where they saw something. You know what? All of our kids, until they're 5, they see different dimensions so easily. They see ghosts, they see fairies, and we're like, yeah, whatever. No, they really do. And then, you know, life happens and society happens and they get conscious and they're like, oh, do I really see that? Oh, no, I don't see that. And they shut that, we all have shut that down at some point. So being able to tap into that version of you, to tap into the quantum field and draw from your past versions, from the parallel versions of you, and catalyze what they have already achieved, what is already inside of you. That is the inner superwoman catalyst. And I'm just the facilitator to help you get to there and, you know, turn that key, turn that lock.
Is there any particular exercise that you have them do to start making that a habit where, you know, they're feeling that kind of nudge, they're feeling something in their body to go this path, do this, but they're not used to following it, right? Because they're so very logical, right? And not used to just leaning into what is their body telling them. Do you have any kind of exercise to work through that so they can become more comfortable in responding to the way that their body is reacting to certain things?
Yeah, I love that you say that. So the first thing is you need to know how your body answers, how your body talks. So you need to figure out, you know, what your yes and no in your body is. Like for me is, oh, I lean in. That's for me, that's a yes. Like my body, when I do this, my body's saying, yes, let's do this. But so you can do that really easily when you go shopping. You know, when you stand in front of the veggies, take a cucumber, for example, and say, do I want a cucumber? And then wait for the reaction of your body. Like, what does your body do? Do you feel something in your, you know, belly area? Or do you feel like a nudge in your solar plexus area? Or do you feel nothing? If you don't feel anything, then put it back down and say, do I want a pepper? and just wait for the reaction, because most of the time the reaction is instant, but it's really, really quiet. So, you know, waiting there for I stood in front. I stood in a supermarket for about half an hour because I was waiting. You know, I was just standing there like, okay, what's gonna happen? What's happening here? You know, is somebody answering me here? But the reaction was already there, but I wasn't ready to listen. So when you do that, or in front, you don't have to go to the supermarket. You can also do that in front of your fridge. You know, grab a yogurt and say, do I want a yogurt? Ask really simple yes and no questions, so you understand the language of your body. So that when there are big decisions and your body tells you yes or no, you're ready to listen.
That I love the way that you simplified it so much. And it's very like actionable in that moment. Like, oh, that's something that I can do. I can stop and wait and listen. And what you just said of the reaction is already there. You just have to stop and listen. So powerful, because we don't. We're in this world of like, just move, 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 go, 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 whatever it is you think you need. And usually because other people are telling you you need this, that's what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
But be willing to pause and listen and then lean into it.
Yeah.
Amazing. I feel like this half hour, 40 minutes went by so incredibly fast because I am obsessed with everything that you are saying, Bea. Oh my gosh, where can everyone learn more about what it is that you're doing, work with you so that they can keep listening to all these amazing things that you're saying? Where can they connect with you?
Thank you so much. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at moving_river. And if you want to dive more into this, I have a beautiful circle. It's called the Superwoman Circle. It's a monthly membership where we meet 5 times. You can show up, you don't have to, but there is the possibility of showing up 5 times. You get beautiful moon ceremonies where we connect to the moon cycle. And we are just opening a book club as well, because I think books are freaking amazing. And yes, so Instagram is my go-to channel, but you can also find me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and my website is www.superwoman.coach, because I work with superwomen.
Which is all of you listening today, okay? Or our
Yes.
supermen that might be listening, but I know our audience is mostly women. So superwomen out there, know that you are one, and reach out to Bea. Obviously, she is incredible. And if you haven't already, check our podcast episode out on her podcast. So tune into both. All of the links will be in the show notes. But again, Bea, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to have to bring you back on at a later time, because I feel like I could go on and on and on with you. And I love your energy. I love what you're doing. And it'll be really amazing to see how many more layers have been peeled back in the future, right? How much more you've dove into your rawness and your unpolishedness, and what that looks like, and the impact that you're creating. So we'll check back in the future, but thank you again so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. It was such a blast.
Another incredible interview with yet another inspiring woman in entrepreneurship. I hope you guys loved that episode just as much as I did. Before we leave off, if you yourself are also a woman entrepreneur, I would love for you to consider joining our Empowered by Women directory. We're looking for women-owned product and service-based businesses in the US to help us build the go-to place for our communities to find local women to shop with and connect with, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. All of the details can be found on www.empoweredbywomen.com/apply-directory. Of course, that's going to be linked in the show notes below, and you're also welcome to reach out to me anytime if you have any questions. But other than that, thank you again so much for joining us, and I will see you in the next episode.